and to transform ignorance into wisdom or understanding. I think that the gist of the teaching of the Buddha. So obviously, non-killing is the first precept in learning to be non-violent physically. Non-stealing is to be aware of greed. So the idea, the 5 precepts are in fact dealing with the root cause of suffering. The first one, hatred. Second one, greed. The third one, stronger than greed, is lust, dealing with sexual issue. The fourth one is delusion, by speaking not truly, not truthfully, not honestly, leading you to ignorance, leading you to something very wrong. And of course, the 5th precept contribute to mindlessness. Once you are mindless, you can commit against the 1st precept, 2nd precept, 3rd precept, 4th precept easily. This is at least what I understand, the teaching of the Buddha on the precepts in the Theravada tradition. But of course, to practice the precept, it's only the first step. It's called sila. Sila in Pali has its equivalent of how to be normal, natural. The Pali word is pakati. Pakati means to be natural, to be normal. In the Buddhist context, to be normal, to be natural means to be non-violent. That's why you must learn to be non-violent. And the way to learn to be non-violent, the precept is only the guideline. But you must train your mind. That's why the 2nd stage of training is called samadhi. Samadhi, you train your mind to be calm, to be critically aware of the self. The first stage of samadhi is called samatha, to be calm. Your mind not wandering around. I think that helps you to be peaceful inside. But that's not enough. Sometimes you are peaceful, but you are also very selfish. Quite a number of Buddhists are very peaceful, but they don't develop further in meditation. They don't develop vipassana. That is, how to be critical of oneself, how to take the ego not seriously, in order to eventually understand sunyata, anatta, egolessness. Without reaching this understanding, a lot of people who practice meditation become calm, become nice, become goody-goody. And sometimes they take Buddhism as escapism. Because a lot of Buddhists are from a well-to-do family, but they never challenge their own lifestyle, which sometimes the rich people's lifestyle could be led gracefully, could be led luxuriously, at the expense of the poor, at the expense of the environment. If I may say so, this country, the population of this country may be 6% of the world's population. So this country spends about 45% of the world's resources. But if you don't question that, you may be a Buddhist with capital B. You know, you can be proud of being Buddhist, but in fact, you could also be an escapist more than a Buddhist. I talked to the Japanese when we started International Enduring Case Buddhist 25 years ago. Before that, I went to Japan every year, sometimes twice a year. And in Japan, most people are Buddhists, and they have so many denominations. Apart from Zen, they also have Pure Land, they have Shingon, they have so many. And they ask those Buddhist priests, don't you feel bad being Buddhist, Japanese Buddhist? that Japan become very rich at the expense of your neighbor. You export pollution to your neighbor, you import cheap labors, and then you become very rich. Those Japanese Buddhist friends of mine said, "Oh, so Laksan, to be a Japanese is a religion in itself." So in that case, you see, that's why in my first book published here, Seeds of Peace, I said there is capital B Buddhists. Buddhists who identify themselves with their nation state, are proud of their economic achievements, or in Sri Lanka, to be a Sinhala is to be a Buddhist. And the Tamils are Hindu or Muslim or whatever. They are not Buddhist. And they could be killed. They could be eliminated in order to keep the holy land of the Buddha, Sri Lanka. This is obviously against the first precept of not killing. And yet, this is very much propagated in Sri Lanka. Even the Mahanayaka, the great leaders of Buddhist Sangha, went along with the government in killing the Tamils. Unfortunately, last year, I was one of those members of the International People's Tribunal, put the President of Sri Lanka on trial for committing the crime against humanity. Of course, this tribunal is not recognized as a binding, but it has moral, cultural authority. Some of you may recall the People's Tribunal started by Bertrand Russell during the Vietnam War. Russell was already 90 years old, and he started his tribunal trying the U.S. government in committing crimes against humanity by invading Vietnam, killing so many Vietnamese, and many Americans here have been killed. When Bertrand Russell started this, a lot of the American press, Western press condemned the old man. He was too old, he was akaka, and so on. But this trial had some effect in shortening Vietnam War, in making awareness among the young people to rebel against the U.S. administration. And since Bertrand Russell did this, there are quite a number of people's tribunals. I myself was involved, number one, we put China on trial in invading Tibet. Of course, the Chinese is still occupying Tibet, still treating the Tibet very, very badly, but I think it stirred them to think deeply. And the last trial was I was sitting in Dublin against the President of Sri Lanka. He tried to hide the fact. It was not published in Sri Lanka, but it was mentioned by the UN General Assembly and quite a number of countries condemning the President of Sri Lanka. And he's quite shaky now, morally, spiritually. And I was the only Buddhist on the tribunal. So I made a plea, especially to the leading Buddhist monks in Sri Lanka, because they were so happy that they defeated the Tamils, no longer terrorism in the country. I said that is not the way of the Buddhist practice. We should feel sorry for the Tamils. Indeed, many of them have laid down arms. Over 40,000 laid down arms. And many of them children, women in hospital, and they were killed. Broad daylight. This was evidenced by the BBC film and by Amnesty International. So I said the Buddhists should learn that the first precept is essential, more important than nationalism. So when I mentioned that non-killing, it's not only on a personal issue, it is a national issue.